Hi, I'm Alex and welcome to Dreams of Green. In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 fruit trees for the subtropics if you're after food in a hurry for your food forest. So let's talk through the top tree that has just yielded an abundance of fruit year after year, and that is the mulberry. This happens to be a dwarf black. We're just at the end of the fruiting season now, but you can see we've still got a few fruit here. So all I need to do now that we're at the end of the fruiting season, it's just early spring, is prune this back and I'll get another crop. Then it'll fruit again and then I'll have more mulberries. So we've got a freezer full of them at the moment, as well as coming out to this tree every day, getting stained fingers and just raiding this tree. So if you're after a really tough tree for the subtropics that can survive flooding rains, drought, as well as searing heat. The other advantage obviously is the shade they produce. They let in the winter sun because they're deciduous and basically provide this beautiful canopy in summer and early spring just when you need it. So that's the mulberry. Tough as nails, huge producer of fruit, my number one go-to if you're after fruit in a hurry. The next one we're going to visit, now this one we didn't establish till later, obviously the banana. Now the reason it's not as tough as the mulberry is they obviously don't like frost and they don't like the dry. However, you can see I've planted an avenue of bananas here, and in between I've got my raised veggie beds and they're right next to my compost pile. So they're still getting runoff from the overflow from the shed here. So they're getting water from the overflow from the tanks. They're next to my compost pile. So that's why they've done so well, because we've also got a wall behind them protecting them from those winter winds. So you can get regular bananas such as ladyfingers and Cavendish, but also you can get plantains. So I'm just trying to think which ones are which. This one is I believe a Pacific plantain, and they produce huge bananas. You can use them for cooking and baking as well as kind of eating when they turn yellow. So that's provided us with kilos and kilos of fruit. Now, even though we just planted these recently, these have only been in the ground a year. They were only kind of this big to start with, so a couple of feet high, but because we planted them in the right spot where they've got heaps of leaching nutrients from our compost pile, lots of water from the overflow from the tanks, that's why they've done so well. I did try planting a couple when we first started out, but they were too exposed, they weren't getting enough water, so that's definitely the key when planting bananas. Lots of water, lots of fertilizer. Just behind my bananas here, which are providing an incredible windbreak and protection for my bananas, is the amazing loquat tree. So look how lush the growth is. Again, these trees have not been watered or fertilized. These were seedling grown trees that I dug up from the side of the road. But if you're after something incredibly tough that will survive all the way from warm temperate to subtropical areas, the loquat is an amazing choice. So this is what the fruit looks like here. It's lush, sweet and juicy, and this produced fruit in just a few years from seed. And you can see just how big and lush this tree is. Not only is it supporting my bananas, I've actually got avocados growing close by. So this is an avocado tree that's growing right next to this loquat. Why? Because these avocados were really struggling without any support. I had them on a very exposed hill, and so I planted the loquats either side of my avocados to help shelter them from the winds, the cold winter winds. So that is the delicious, that's the loquat tree. So sweet and juicy. So this little one is a strawberry guava. These I have grown from seed. You can see they're still in their pots. And look, we've already got buds. So if you check out my other videos, there's a specific video on strawberry guava, how to harvest the fruit and propagate this from seed. But if you're after a tree that you can propagate easily by yourself, that will produce fruit within a few short years, on a very small plant, the strawberry guava is a great option. Here's the original strawberry guava I started with. Now look at all those little buds. The beauty is, see this carpet of mulch underneath? That is all self-sustaining mulch. I have not fertilized or watered this tree at all since it was planted. Look at that lush green. Look at all the buds. So if you're after something that is super tough for droughts, floods, frosts as well, it can handle down to -5 degrees Celsius. This is an absolute star performer. So that is the strawberry guava. Next up, we have this gorgeous little shrub, super tough, with the most amazing Chinese lantern style fruit. This is the Brazilian cherry. So this is a seed grown tree that again has fruited within just a couple of short years. And look at the color of that ripe fruit. So that is the Brazilian cherry. Again, this is a tree, it has a tephrosia, a nitrogen fixing support tree growing next to it just for some additional protection, but I haven't watered this, I haven't fertilized it, and yet I'm still getting beautiful fruit just like this. And if I bite in, you can see the inside, that's the seed inside. Absolutely delicious fruit. That is the Brazilian cherry. Highly recommend getting these for a really tough species for your food forest. Lucky Last is one of my all-time favorites. You cannot go past a homegrown mango. So do yourself a favor, next time you eat a mango, plant the seed. This is a seedling grown Bowen mango, or Kensington Pride, and the mangoes are some of the best I've ever eaten. Not only is it super easy to grow a mango from seed, they grow true to type, and this one fruited within 3 to 4 years. So that is the mango. I can't wait until all of these mangoes ripen and we'll have them in time for summer. So I hope this list has been really helpful if you're after things that are easy to grow and that are going to fruit within a few years. I'd love to know in the comments, what are your favorite fruit trees in your food forest? What are your fail-safe, tried and tested, hardy species that you swear by if you're after fruit within the first couple of years? Let me know where in the world you are and what you're growing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye.